Look around you. What you see, what you feel, and even who you believe yourself to be right now, it's all the result of invisible forces you've either chosen or allowed to shape your life. But here's the truth that too few people ever face. The life you're living today is not a random accident. It's a direct reflection of your habits, your beliefs, and your rules, both the ones you consciously set and the ones you've unconsciously accepted. And yet, most people spend their entire lives trapped by rules that keep them stuck. Rules written by fear, by past pain, by other people's expectations. They wonder why they feel powerless, why their dreams seem just out of reach, why life feels like a constant battle rather than a joyful adventure. But what if I told you that all it takes to break free, to shatter those invisible chains, to completely transform your life, your health, your relationships, your finances, your happiness, is to embrace just 3 simple rules. 3 rules so powerful, so foundational, that when you live by them, you will never look at life the same way again. You will no longer be a victim of your circumstances. Instead, you will become the unstoppable architect of your own destiny. Tonight, I'm not here to give you empty motivation or quick fixes. I'm here to challenge you, to invite you to rise above the noise, the excuses, the limiting beliefs, and to step into the life you were always meant to live. Are you ready to change? Are you ready to take control? Then listen carefully, because these 3 rules will transform everything you thought you knew about what's possible. Look, the very first step to transforming your life starts with owning your story. Not just the parts you're proud of, the wins, the highlights, but the parts you've tried to hide away, the setbacks, the failures, the times you felt lost or broken. Because here's the truth. Your past doesn't have to define you. It only owns you if you let it. Every day, people walk around carrying invisible weights, stories about who they are, stories about what happened to them that keep them stuck in a cycle of pain, anger, or regret. But those stories, they're just stories. They're interpretations, not facts. And you have the power to rewrite them. When you stop blaming others, stop waiting for circumstances to change, and start taking full responsibility for where you are right now, that's when transformation begins. It's not about beating yourself up or feeling guilty for mistakes. It's about stepping into the power of choice, the power to say, this is my life, I own it, I'm done being a victim. And when you say that, something inside you shifts. You're no longer at the mercy of the past. You become the author of your future. You see, the moment you accept ownership, you take control. You start to see opportunities where before there were only obstacles. You recognize that the pain you experienced wasn't just suffering, it was a lesson, a fuel to propel you forward if you let it. The scars you carry become your badges of strength, proof that you've endured and survived. When you own your story fully, you stop hiding behind excuses. You stop shrinking to fit someone else's expectations or a narrative that no longer serves you. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Facing your truth head on can shake you to your core. But it's also the most liberating, because the moment you own your story, you gain clarity. You see where you've been, why you made the choices you did, and how those choices brought you here. But you also see the way forward. You realize you're not trapped, you're not stuck, you're free. And freedom comes with power, power to change your habits, power to change your mindset, power to create new results. But it starts with this fundamental decision: no more blaming, no more hiding, no more pretending. You say yes to yourself, to your growth, to your potential. So if you want your life to transform, stop running from your past. Stop letting it control your present and dictate your future. Own your story completely and watch how everything else begins to fall into place. Here's the truth. Transformation doesn't come from setting goals alone. Goals are important, yes, but they're often just a destination on a map. What really changes everything is the standard you set for yourself. the level of commitment and expectation you refuse to compromise on. Because standards are the invisible rules that govern your life. They determine the quality of your relationships, your work, your health, and most importantly, how you treat yourself. Think about it. If you don't demand more from yourself, if you accept the easy way out, the comfortable excuse, the momentary pleasure that ultimately holds you back, then you're going to stay stuck where you are. Raising your standards means deciding that no longer will you accept less than you deserve. It means refusing to tolerate negativity, mediocrity, or habits that drain your energy and your potential. It means saying no to the small daily compromises that over time add up to a life far beneath your true capability. When you raise your standards, you raise your life. Suddenly, things that once seemed difficult become non-negotiable. You stop negotiating with your health, your integrity, your growth. You stop settling for toxic relationships, dead-end jobs, or habits that keep you small. This shift, this decision to hold yourself to a higher standard, is what separates those who live with passion and purpose from those who drift through life waiting for something to change. Now, raising your standards isn't about perfection or rigidity. It's not about being hard on yourself or others. It's about clarity. Clarity on what you will and won't accept in your life. It's about integrity, living in alignment with your values, even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. Because that discomfort, that's where growth lives. When your standards become non-negotiable, something powerful happens. Your identity changes. You begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone who struggles or fails and start identifying as someone who wins, who perseveres, who commits. And this new identity creates new habits, new actions, new results. It's a feedback loop. Raise your standards, act on them, and your life transforms in ways you never thought possible. But here's the catch. Raising your standards requires courage. It requires you to face your fears, your doubts, and the parts of you that want to stay safe and comfortable. It requires you to say no to old patterns, even if they feel familiar and easy. And most importantly, it requires you to be honest with yourself about what you truly want and what you will no longer accept. So if you want to transform your life, start by raising your standards. Stop settling for less. Demand more from yourself than anyone else ever could. Because when your shoulds become musts, your life changes forever. Here's the reality. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect mindset, it's the surest way to stay stuck. Too many people fall into the trap of analysis paralysis, thinking that if they just think harder, prepare longer, or get everything perfectly aligned, then they'll finally be ready to take action. But here's the hard truth. Perfection is an illusion, and waiting for it steals your momentum, your confidence, and your future. Transformation comes from action, massive, imperfect action. It's not about being flawless. It's about being relentless. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who wait until conditions are perfect. They're the ones who decide right now to move forward anyway. They take a step, then another, and with each step they build momentum. That momentum creates clarity. It shows you what works and what doesn't. It reveals opportunities you couldn't see from where you stood before. Think about it this way. Clarity doesn't come from overthinking. Clarity comes from engagement. You find your path by walking it, not by staring at a map from a distance. So don't wait for confidence to arrive before you act. Confidence is a byproduct of action. The more you do, the more you learn, the more you grow, and the stronger you become. Taking massive, imperfect action means embracing uncertainty. It means stepping into the discomfort of the unknown and trusting that you can handle whatever comes next. It means understanding that failure is not a dead end. It's feedback. It's a lesson that refines your approach and propels you closer to your goals. Every setback, every mistake, every no you encounter is just part of the process. A sign that you're pushing beyond your limits and into new territory. Most people fear failure because they misunderstand it. They see failure as something to avoid at all costs. But failure, when embraced correctly, is the greatest teacher. It's the proof that you're trying, that you're growing, that you're alive. The moment you stop fearing failure, you unlock a level of freedom and power that few ever experience. The key is to start now, right now. Don't wait for motivation to strike or for a perfect plan to emerge. Take the first step, even if it's small and imperfect. Then take the next one. Keep moving. Action breeds confidence, and confidence fuels more action. This cycle is what builds unstoppable momentum and creates lasting change. Remember, the world rewards those who show up, who try, who refuse to be paralyzed by fear or doubt. It doesn't reward the perfect, it rewards the persistent. So if you want your life to transform, commit today to massive, imperfect action. Start before you're ready, learn as you go, and keep moving forward. Because it's not about waiting for the perfect moment, it's about creating it through your actions. One of the biggest chains that hold people back from living fully is the need for approval from family, friends, colleagues, even strangers. We spend so much time molding ourselves to fit what others expect, craving their acceptance and fearing their judgment. But here's the hard truth. When your decisions are driven by the need to be liked, you lose yourself. You start living a life that's not yours, built on someone else's expectations, not your own truth. Imagine how exhausting it is to constantly edit your words, your actions, your very identity, just to avoid conflict or rejection. You shrink down to fit in, sacrificing your dreams, your values, your authenticity, just to gain approval. But what you don't realize is that no amount of approval from others can fill the void that comes from disconnecting with yourself. You might get applause or nods of agreement, but deep down you feel empty because you're not living your own life. You're living a life that's safe and comfortable, but not fulfilling. The moment you decide to let go of the need for approval is the moment you reclaim your power. It's a radical act of self-love and courage. When you stop seeking validation from outside sources, you free yourself to live on your own terms. You create space for your true desires, your real values, and your unique gifts to shine. That's where real happiness and fulfillment come from. Not from the approval of others, but from the deep knowing that you are enough, exactly as you are. Letting go of approval doesn't mean becoming reckless or ignoring feedback that can help you grow. It means you learn to differentiate between healthy input and toxic validation. You become grounded in your own worth so you can receive constructive criticism without losing your sense of self. And you can reject judgments that are limiting or destructive. This shift changes everything. You start taking actions that honor your authentic self, even if it means disappointing some people along the way. Because here's the secret. The people who truly matter, those who love and respect you, will support you when you show up fully as yourself. And the rest? Their opinions no longer have the power to hold you back. When you stop living to please others, you open the door to real connection, real freedom, and real growth. You become magnetic to opportunities and people aligned with your true purpose. Your energy rises because you're no longer drained by trying to be someone you're not. You feel lighter, stronger, more alive. So if you want to transform your life, start by releasing the need for approval. Stop living as a reflection of others' expectations. Start living as the original, powerful, authentic person you were born to be. And when you do, everything else will begin to fall into place. What you feed your mind is the soil where your future grows. Every thought, every idea, every word you consume, whether from books, conversations, or what you watch, shapes who you are and who you will become. Yet, most people don't realize just how powerful this is. They let their minds be a dumping ground for random noise, negativity, and distractions, not understanding that what you allow in will either lift you up or pull you down. Your mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds, fear, doubt, criticism, and negativity, they will grow and choke out everything good. But if you plant seeds of positivity, knowledge, and inspiration, those will flourish and bear fruit. And that fruit, it's your identity, your beliefs, your actions, and ultimately your results in life. It's not enough to be passive about this. You have to be intentional, almost militant about what you allow in. The moment you take control of your input, you take control of your life. That means being selective about the books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the conversations you engage in, and even the media you consume. Are these inputs encouraging growth? Are they empowering you? Or are they filling your mind with doubt, fear, or complacency? Think about the last time you felt truly inspired or motivated. What were you reading, watching, or listening to? Now compare that to times when you felt stuck or overwhelmed. Your state of mind is a direct reflection of what you feed it. And this isn't just theory. This is science. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on what it experiences. This is called neuroplasticity. You literally create new pathways in your brain through what you focus on. That means your current mindset and habits are not fixed. They can be changed by changing your inputs. If you want to change your results, you have to start with changing your inputs. Surround yourself with stories of success, courage, and resilience. Absorb lessons from those who have walked the path before you. Let their wisdom fuel your belief that you can do the same. But it's not just about information, it's about emotion too. When you feed your mind with uplifting, empowering ideas, your emotions rise and your energy shifts. That energy drives your actions, your creativity, and your perseverance. You become more resilient in the face of challenges because you've built an internal environment that supports growth, not defeat. And here's the powerful part. This isn't a one-time change. It's a daily commitment. What you feed your mind every day becomes the foundation of your identity. If you want to transform your life, you must treat your mind like the most valuable asset you have because it is. So start today. Choose your inputs wisely. Fill your mind with ideas and stories that inspire and empower you, because when you change your input, you change your identity. And when your identity changes, your life transforms. Here's something too many people overlook. Your state, how you feel physically, emotionally, and mentally in any given moment, is the gateway to everything you want in life. It's not the grand gestures or the big plans alone that change your life. It's the daily rituals that condition your state, that prepare your mind and body to perform at their best, that create lasting transformation. You can have all the knowledge, all the motivation, and all the goals in the world, but if your state is off, if you're tired, anxious, or disconnected, you won't show up as your best self. You won't take the actions that lead to success. Conditioning your state isn't about forcing yourself to be happy or pretending everything is perfect. It's about taking control of your physiology and your focus so that you can shift your energy into a place of power, clarity, and confidence, no matter what's happening around you. Because the truth is, life will always throw challenges at you. It's how you manage your internal state in response to those challenges that determines whether you rise or fall. Think about the moments when you've performed at your absolute best, maybe in a big presentation, a competition, or an important conversation. What made that possible? More than likely, you had a particular state, a combination of focus, energy, and emotion that propelled you forward. You were not passive. You were actively engaged in controlling how you felt. The power of conditioning your state lies in daily practice. Small rituals done consistently, morning gratitude, intentional breathing, movement, visualization, build a foundation that supports your growth every day. When you start your morning with gratitude, you shift your focus from what's missing to what's abundant. When you move your body, even for just a few minutes, you pump oxygen and energy into your system, waking up your mind and spirit. Visualization allows you to mentally rehearse success, creating a blueprint in your brain that helps turn possibility into reality. It's not about perfection, it's about commitment. Even on days when you don't feel like it, those rituals anchor you. They reset your state and remind you that you are in control. This control over your state is the fuel for persistence, resilience, and creativity. It's what keeps you moving forward when the road gets tough. And here's the secret. Your state is contagious. When you master your internal environment, you influence everyone around you, your family, your team, your community. Your energy sets the tone for your relationships and opportunities. You become a magnet for positivity and success. So don't wait for motivation to strike or for circumstances to be perfect. Take charge of your state right now and every day after that, consistently and with purpose. Consistently and with purpose. Because your state isn't just how you feel. It's the foundation of your story, your actions, and ultimately your destiny. And when you condition your state daily, you open the door to a life transformed.